What if I told you that there is one key component to productivity that 90% of people probably don't even think about? And even with those who have thought about it, rarely take the leap to commit to it. 2 weeks ago, I completed my challenge of pure growth, but the effect it had on me was detrimental. And so you might be asking yourself, wouldn't completing productive tasks for 2 weeks straight benefit you? Well, yes and no. Allow me to explain. There are many ways that help us complete our goals and tasks, 3 in which I find are the most important: motivation, discipline, and accountability. Whoa. Before you watch a teenager talk about what he's learned for 10 minutes straight, why don't we take the environment outside? Whoa, it's 10 p.m. and it's a little dark, so let's switch things up. I think we're gonna go back inside now. There was no way I was going to be able to record in that snowstorm. 3, 2, 1, action. Most of us tend to rely on how motivated we are to do something, whether it is some schoolwork or, for some of us, even getting out of bed. Motivation is a feeling that always isn't there with us, so to depend on it, you're not really being efficient, which then leads us to discipline. I know a lot of you are familiar with discipline and how it relates to productivity. Discipline is the action of completing tasks or goals without motivation, so when you don't even feel like it. This means that if you're like aching or tired, or you're slumpish and you don't feel like doing something, you'll still do it because, well, it's the right thing to do. And lastly, the key component I'm going to be talking about today is accountability. It is the responsibility to complete tasks or goals because you have to. When someone or something is holding you accountable for doing a certain task, you're gonna do it. And believe it or not, this subconsciously happens to us every day in our lives. Yet, we don't even capitalize it for ourselves. You go to work every day because it is your responsibility to show up. In a different perspective, you've literally signed yourself up to be held accountable to perform labor for someone. Now, you're probably saying in your head, whoa. Listen, teenager, I got a job for a reason. And you are exactly correct. Because this example also connects to motivation. For you wouldn't be working unless you were getting paid, I assume. Right? So to clear things off, accountability is not what drives us, but instead ensures we do what is required to do. Now I'm going to give an example and explain why accountability is so important. Imagine you wanted to accomplish a goal by, say, the end of the month, but you find that you're not putting in the daily work that you need to. One solution you might try is to make yourself more disciplined, which takes time to develop that strong mindset. But another, and possibly more efficient way, in my opinion, is to genuinely hold yourself accountable. Think about it. If you were just as responsible for reaching your goal as you would be for, say, going to work or school, don't you think you would actually accomplish more? Don't you think you do extraordinarily better than relying on motivation or discipline? Now, don't get me wrong. All 3 of these components can work together to help us grow. Although relying on just one of these components, first of all, is not useful at all. But being held accountable is something I rarely even see people using. I discovered being held accountable after my personal growth challenge. Let's be honest, if I hadn't posted that 30-second video announcing that if I don't complete one of these daily tasks for the next 14 days, then I will literally have to go bald. Do you think I would actually do it? Of course not. Listen guys, I love my hair, and going bald is something I definitely did not want to do. Just like I wouldn't want to get fired from my job, so I show up and do the work I'm asked to. Now you might be wondering, so what affected you after winning the challenge? And to simply answer the question, I had nothing holding me accountable anymore. I was freer than a bird. No prison. I had nothing to worry about. I completed the challenge. I was done. It was over. Uploaded. Bang. And believe it or not, I went the most amount of days without going to the gym than I ever had, except for the time that I was severely ill. Now, another personal example I have for you is Duolingo. And not to flex, but I have a Duolingo streak of 375 days. And why won't I stop? Because if I do stop, I will lose that growing number and the milestones along the way. For my challenge, I learned that not only do I need more discipline, but along with some way to hold myself accountable. So going into 2024, what are some attainable and efficient ways to get held accountable for your goals this year? I'd like to say personally that my girlfriend and I hold each other accountable for our daily tasks to make sure we are always on track and complete all of our goals. But if you're lonely and don't have a partner, don't be shy to ask a close friend or family member to help you out. Holding yourself accountable is difficult, but to create a strong commitment to your goals, create consequences like I did, so there is something on the line if you don't reach your expectations. And make sure the consequences are related to something you value or hate doing. This could be removing video games for a week if you originally play day to day, or for some people, running a marathon in the cold, which I should have done yesterday. Also, add a reward that you or your chosen person will praise you with to motivate and influence you to complete your current and future goals. To stay on top of your goals this year, remember, don't rely on motivation. Instead, use it to give you a reason to complete a certain goal. Build a disciplined mindset to work the hardest you can at times you really don't feel like it. And lastly, hold yourself or have someone hold you accountable to actually show up and do the work, the same way you would with your job. I hope I've educated you guys today with the lessons I've learned from my personal growth challenge. If you want to see the challenge, you can click here. And well, without anything else further being said, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.